All right, guys, welcome back. Today we're going to do issue 12 of X from Dark Horse Comics. This is still the War for Arcadia storyline, and basically it's nearing the end. And there is a problem with this book. I really, really like this book. You know, I like the character. He's great in my opinion. Art is great too. It's dark, it's gritty, it's top Dark Horse Comics, just like Ghost and other Dark Horse comics from back in the day. This issue has the problem of what is the word I'm looking for? It's not really a word, but I call it character dumping, meaning there's just too many players in town in this book, and which means nobody is really getting fleshed out. But it seems everything needs to be dumped here. So I'm gonna go through it. I'll tell you my opinion as always, and well, we'll see what happens, right? All right, we see. I mean, it starts great. I mean, X throwing this corpse or this body on this guy's car, on the hood, and he's just, I don't know, jumping, flying out of the car while crashing. Looks great, by the way. So, but then X comes in, kicks him in the face, and he says, I give you Carmine Tango. Carmine Tango is a crime boss. And he says, you know the rules in Arcadia. I decide who dies. I want you. Because it's been Mark, right? Mark with the X. So this guy's super afraid. Meanwhile, he's probably a dead guy. Meanwhile, in some kind of an abandoned building, this is some kind of a ram vehicle. And they are basically hunting X, right? Because government. And there's a lot of corruption in here. So I believe they are working for the mayor, and the mayor is, has interest, but he's also, what's the word I'm looking for? He's not in control, because other people are pulling his strings, among other things. So, and they say, well, it's not the killer. Okay, then who is it? It's the monster. And I think, oh, it's the monster from the sewer, a couple issues ago. I said, oh, that's cool. I believe it was issue 2, if I remember correctly, or 3. I could be wrong. Anyway, don't quote me on that. So they are try to kill it, but it doesn't work. And then they're shooting some tear gas, so he escapes. Gets out of the building, and then escapes through the. Is this a manhole? Is that how you say it? Well, he's going into the sewers. So he says, "Hey, let's go after him." He said, not me. We need backup. And then I don't know, some cop comes out of it, and he says, don't go in there. There are bodies in there. They're half eaten. He says, calm down. Be a cop. So, and I believe this is one of the corrupt cops. And he says, how did they die? Broken backs? I don't know. Maybe. Listen, I don't want you to call downtown. Ask for Lieutenant Timothy. Got it? Basically, he needs to clean it up. Yeah. Nice colleague. So we have Major Teal here again. And so this is the governor. And the problem is there is too many characters that I think, okay, but are you important? Or, I know Major Teal, right? But there's also other people with same-ish clothes and, has certain, are, in power. That's the word I'm looking for. And they all want to have X killed, and they're all corrupt or something. And, so basically saying, so this guy is not happy with Teal's performance. He says, I don't know how you beat our machine and got elected, but I wouldn't give you a drink of water if your guts were on fire. There's no money for you. But it's not my decision. Your ex-killer made it very clear this city is not part of our country anymore. He says, your choice is we want. Your other choice is we want. The ex-killer gone. He's gotten out of hand. Killing the marker was too much. There's a judgment coming, Teal. You pick a side, us or him. There is no other way. You pick the wrong side, you going down, and don't forget it. All right. That's Ghost. So, and then we go to these bikers. They are working for Carmine Tango, right? And then X comes here because, hey, there's a rope here in the form of an X. That's his, his MO, his motif. Of modus operandi. I believe that's how you say it, right? MO, modus operandi. So, yeah, then this is happening. You see, these guys are scared of the ex-killer. Well, it's not the killer. Well, is he? Yeah, he's maybe a killer. Anyway, so Teal needs a drink, and his guy says, hey, man, they know each other, by the way. He said, hey, can I do something for you? And he says, I don't know, man. Everything is falling apart. I don't know what I'm up against, right? No money to work with. So he says, oh, I need to get a call. I'm coming right back. And he says, yeah, perfect. I don't know who this guy is or what his deal is. But still, there's also a character that probably is being introduced in future issues, I guess. And then we go to Commissioner Hughes. So the other guy. And then we have Lieutenant Timothy. You know, that this cop guy says, hey, call for Timothy and he needs to clean this up. So you're going to the commissioner and he says, we're trying to get the major too, but we cannot find him. He says, what do you want? He said, we are on the backbreaker murder and they think that's X. We identified our man and we don't know, and we know where to find him, but we need authorization on a full-scale investigation or assault team to enter the sewers. But this guy says, nah, there's no money for it. You know, no. And we have priorities. But then Lieutenant says, Timothy says, it's the monster. And then he's silent, looks back, and he says, all right, do it. But don't dare come back without him. So, again, why is he suddenly quiet? Why is no priority to get the ex-killer, but the monster? What, did the monster do something to him or something? I do not know. So why is it important? Why isn't there, again, you know, not for X, but for the monster, yes. Okay, so we go back to Carmine Tango, who is not happy that X is, you know, destroying all his facilities and, you know, throwing a wrench in all of his plans, right? Because he's a criminal boss. And then we have Christy here that works for Carmine, but there's also this Major Teal secretary and they're having a, you know, fling with each other. And he says, why are you calling? This is not the time. Forget that, Christy. This is too big. You got to tell Carmine, this is where we become powers. They want to become big players, right? Because they think they have dirt on people. Teal has a secret report done. X drives developers off the waterfront. Guess who buys up the place? Diane Goretti at dirt cheap prices. So Diane Goretti is, I think, another crime boss, you know, female crime boss. And he says this whole area, she insures it through the nose. Carmine's firebombs the place and her payoff is astronomical. Don't you get it? The ex-killer is a con job. He is working for Diana Goretti. I'm not sure that's entirely true because, well, no, because we didn't see that actually, right? So this is all just, according to them, that's true, but not from my perspective, but how it's, I mean, I don't know the facts. It's just that they say it is, but doesn't mean it's true. Anyway, so this guy comes in, so Christy says, hey, I found something that you really need to hear. All right. And then we go to, what's her name again? Diana Goretta's house. And he says, hey, I got a message that I need to deliver in person. So we have this hooded guy. Now I forgot his name, by the way. He was mentioned in the last issue. But anyway, let's call him Hangman. It's his name, but, you know, it's so forgettable. And the Hangman here is always talking in quotations, in quotes. He says, why you do that, man? Talk like that, I mean. So it's her. Somebody tip we're coming. So, yeah, Diana is trying to get away, right? And adds. And they're going after him. And he says, stop doing that. Stop making quotes. And they're ramming into her. And she's, you know, flying off the road. Now, if you look closely, there's only a shadow. We don't see her. Something up there. So, and then this guy knows this creature, the monster, and brings him pizza. But then he grabs it because the cops are in, you know. I mean, look at this. This looks great. The shadows and light effects here, pretty cool. Lots of details, by the way. The art is really good. And he's protecting this boy, so he's probably not really evil, right? So all this talk about eating bodies, did the monster did that? I don't know. We're going to find out in the next issue because it's not being explained. And then they realize, these two guys, the Hangman and this goon, says, "Oh no, what's this? A wig? But it was her. What the hell is going on here?" The X, of course. "Run along, something doesn't want you. It's not you," he marked. Now, a little bit of a context here. We don't know actually who X is. We barely see his face. We see glimpses of his face. But it seems that this guy was responsible for that. I mean, if you are a little bit know about Batman's past, where Joe Chill, kills Bruce Wayne's parents, basically that's what it is, except that Joe Chill didn't torture Bruce Wayne, becoming a deranged psychopath like the X, right? Because Bruce Wayne became Batman and got revenge on Joe Chill, but not by killing him, right? Here it's different. So what's happening in here that still, talking in quotations, I'm waiting for you. Mano a mano, huh? Shall we? So he's charging, and this guy's pretty strong and aggressive. And he's X getting a licking, right? He's getting really beat up. But then he says, "Don't flatter yourself." I mean, X is pretty jacked and super strong too. So he snaps his arm. Let me do that again. He snaps his arm, breaks his face, and gets a boot in his throat, and then he's done for. He's pretty ruthless, right? Adds again. So he says, "Cool, I can't. Where are my hands? What did you?" And then he's quoting again, "Kill me, do me a favor, go ahead." And then we see for the first time X's face. And now he is the one that's quoting to the Hangman. And he says, "Do I know you?" He says, "No, you never knew me." And he kills him. And I thought that was so cold, because normally the other person tells the story, who he is and what he did to him, right? So a little bit more, rambling, I guess, before he kills him, gives us some kind of a background story. He just says, "No, you didn't know me at all." But he actually did this to his face, and we don't know what happened in that alley, where, basically this guy, now called X, was at the wrong time at the wrong place. And the Hangman here is responsible for X, but he's never going to know that because he's being butchered here by X. And that's it. His story is over now. This guy's story. So X is going back to his secret place in the sewers, but then he says some voice says, "Freeze!" And it's, "Oh no, it's the lieutenant. Please move your heart, move very slowly and put your hands behind your back. You're under arrest." It's going to be continuing the next issue, which of course I'm going to review. Again, this is a very good comic, and X is a very cool, interesting character, super anti-hero, on the verge of becoming probably a madman psychopath himself, because he's doing a lot of bad stuff. But like I said, there's too many characters. We have the Hangman. We have this guy's being marked, which I think, okay. Then we have these corrupted cops here working for, I believe, Major Teal. We have the monsters here. And then we have this governor, being the puppeteer. And then this, these are just victims, right? Or not victims, casualties, if you will. And then we have this bartender that maybe is important in issues, the next one, I don't know. We have here the Commissioner Huge and Lieutenant Timothy. What is connection with the monster? I do not know. We have, of course, Christie here with Gretchen, doing some kind of a coup here, or trying to become, players in town either. We have, of course, Carmine Tango here, and of course Diana Goretti. Too many players, too many characters all in one. Take it easy. I know you want to tell the story, but don't bombard me with all of these characters that I think, oh, I now have to go back to the other issues because I don't know who is who, right? Unless you're reading it back to back, then you probably know who are these characters are. But if you were reading this on a monthly basis, I got them all, by the way, but I'm doing these reviews trying to be on a monthly basis. I think that's fun. Sometimes I'm doing a little bit earlier or later. That really depends on what I want to read. But still, too much. Still cool. Also, this fight between Hangman and X, super cool. Over a little bit too quickly. I like that X is either just blowing his face off or whatever. We don't see it, but he's dead, right? Leads us to the next issue. We're going to see where this is going with War of Arcadia. Guys, stick around. Thank you so much for watching as always. I see you next time.